All right, welcome back. We are here for Covenant 3. Got 2 wins in a row. We're going to try with the stream cam mic, see if that does any better. Had a few scratchy options on audio before. We'll see if this does a little better, a little different. Random now means something. We have additional options as of last game. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we get to see our Stygian again as our main clan, but this time instead of Hellhorn, we have Awoken as our off. Talos again. This time we get Arcus. I think this is the first time we've seen Arcus in this run. He is the alternate to Fel, and he tends to put things down that these little shards. They're not monsters in and of themselves, but they cause you to have to think twice about doing things like playing a unit or playing a spell on that particular square. We've already won a run with Restoration Detonation, but we get a couple of those already. Get a couple of Guardian's Amulets. We can sap some units. That seems fine. We need a way to discard this so we don't have to pay 3 for it, but as soon as we get that, we're in business. That's a pretty good card. And then applying Spell Weakness, we've seen that do some pretty incredible things, but we won't be able to do that this time because we don't have the armor to really stack up. For this one, once again, let's look at the artifact, see what we get. Oh, these are both so good. Okay, so Emblem of the Exiles is such an interesting artifact, and I think it's probably a little underrated if I had to guess. What it does is it allows you to do one of two things. It allows you to take a unit that is not already tanky and give it a little extra health, because if you can start off a fight by putting it alone in a front line, you can still put another unit in front of it later and have it just get 1 or 2 turns worth of bonus 5 health. That'll help it survive some of the sweep enemies that come up later in the game. That'll do 4 or 5 damage in a line, which doesn't seem too bad unless you have a champion with 3 health. And that just takes him out. So Emblem of the Exiles can do some massive, massive work for you. It's really good. Regen restoring 1 health per stack is good, but I don't think we have enough regen built in. We've got 2 big healing spells that are raw healing based, not regen. If these were the Wildwood Sap or something like that, where it applies 5 regen, or even an Awake that applies 3 regen, then Bloated Fungus maybe even overtakes Emblem of the Exiles. But easily speaking, at the end of the game, you're talking about if you can get something on every floor from the very first run, from the first round, on something that has, let's say, 6 waves before the boss shows up, and then the boss sits there and goes through 3 waves itself. You're talking about 9 total waves. That's 45 health at the top floor, 40 at the second, and 35 at the bottom floor, for an average of 40 and 120 total bonus health on your units. That is a massive amount of health, especially considering that we're playing an Awoken deck that has healing already built in. So this is, I think, without a doubt, one of the strongest possible artifacts we could have possibly gotten here at the start. Really, really happy to see that. And let's see what we get. So we've already seen a Conduit run. Conduit's pretty interesting. Sweeping and applying spell weakness is something that we can look to, saying, okay, well, maybe we can do some damage with Restoration Detonation. It's already going to do maybe 50 damage. If we can give it plus 10, that's 20 for 100 damage. And now if there's spell weakness bonusing in there, yeah, we can start looking at that being legitimate amounts of like Energy Siphon plus Tethys, doing some fun stuff with that. The other thing that goes well with Handheld Totem is that this can then be combined with the Frostbite upgrade, which will allow Tethys to not only do damage to the entire line, but also apply 10 or even 20 Frostbite to every single enemy on an entire line. So that's pretty honestly incredible. Plus, giving him the 6 health instead of 5 does mean that we have slightly less to worry about with sweep enemies. Still pretty vulnerable late game. But once again, with Emblem of the Exiles, we may even be able to kind of circumvent some of the danger there. Worth noting, we are on Covenant 3. This icon only shows up once you're on Covenant. Major battles now have additional enemies. That means more waves. More waves for us is actually a good thing. More waves means more health for our frontline units. And major battles are not too bad. Okay. Aggressive non-boss enemies get +4. We are fine with them getting +4 because we get +5 every turn. It doesn't work quite that way, but it sounds good. Okay, so this guy's going to hit for 6. This guy doesn't have any damage built in. He's a healer, so he actually doesn't get any more dangerous, which is muy bueno. Okay, let's give Tethys some health. Let's give Train Steward some health. And let's do a spell weakness. And we don't have any big damage spells other than Restoration Detonation, and nobody's taking damage yet, so there's no real reason not to just go ahead and whack that guy. And then Restore, we could put somewhere, but not much of a reason to do so. However, we can put this guy in there, or we could run a sap. I feel like this is probably a slightly stronger option. We can also try to get closer to pulling this guy down for a kill. We can also consider whether or not we actually have a Train Steward coming in. We might or might not. So having a new front line is maybe good here. That'll give him 13 health by the time he gets hit. And then we'll just do a single hat there. We do miss out on the Collector, but there's not much that we can do about that. Unless you kill the units down to the bottom, you're pretty much screwed out of it. And our Restoration Detonations came up sort of too little too late there. However, they will be useful here. Order matters, so if we do the Restoration Detonation first, we do a lot less damage than if we Energy Siphon first. So let's do that. And we win that little kerfuffle. And we can pretty easily heal up to full there and pull some bonus damage. The question is if we want to go ahead and pull bonus damage in the top or the middle. I think top is probably our best bet, just so that we can say that we overload as much damage as possible there, and we hope to kill things there. Okay, took 6 damage. Not much else we could expect to happen there. We can pretty easily apply Spell Weakness 1 here, that's fine. There's no damage to be done with Restoration Detonation there, and we are fairly likely to see a Restoration Detonation come back through, so I'd kind of like to leave those 6 health there, especially if we can leave that Spell Weakness there. We could potentially pop for, what's that, 6 times 5 is 30 times 2, 60 damage is quite a bit. That being said, we can do this. And now he gets a couple of free turns hitting while Sap wears off. And it still does. So, not a big deal, but notice our Train Stewards start with 8 health, and this guy's got 28. That's not nothing. That's really, really pretty good. Okay, so our next turn, we are not really guaranteed a Restoration Detonation, so I think... That's okay. We can kick the can down the road one more time. Worst case scenario, we'll just beat him anyway because I think we have enough health to do that. Yeah, we do. And yeah, sure enough, we actually don't have anything that matters there. But we've already won to a certain extent where we haven't even lost any units. So always makes me feel good. Always makes me feel a little awkward when you have a bunch of spell weakness built up on an enemy that doesn't get used, but them's the breaks. Okay, spell weakness goes real well with Helical Crystallis. We got to see that last time too. That could be our big Pepow spell. I'm okay with that. Titan's Gratitude is also an option, gives us an opportunity to discard a card. It's random, so it's a little harder to target. Let's take Helical Crystallis. I feel like that has enough of an upside for us to be excited about. Razor Sharp Edge does some interesting things too. Allows us to turn units with extra health into more damage in the back line. That can especially be pretty good on stuff like Tethys to make him do some pretty nasty stuff, but it also tanks him down to a certain level. We don't really have anything to build up his health except for Emblem of the Exiles, and he has to be alone for that. So I think we just take cash because we're missing money. Okay. Thorn Hollow is an interesting point here. We don't care about anybody getting kill bonuses anymore. We don't have slay bonuses. So if spikes kill things, we're totally okay with that. And we haven't won with one yet, so it's nice to have one. Okay, we've got a good unit. We've got 4 excellent spells and 3 decent spells. So getting a good new unit is a pretty high priority, but upgrading our spells is a pretty high priority. That being said, I'm always a fan of upgrading Thorn Hollows as early and as often as possible, so that they don't just die when you put them out. It's very possible to put a Thorn Hollow out with 15 health and not have a healing spell in hand, which makes it a little awkward. We get another sweeper. We get a second option for Thorned Hollow. Let's pull a sweep, and we can upgrade them separately and differently. I feel like that gives us a few more options. Sure, we'll give this guy a 10 and spikes 3. He starts with spikes. He's going to get more spikes. Don't see a problem with that. Endless and incant upgrades. We're not doing a lot of incant, but we should be. So we're gonna incant a lot onto the Thorned Hollow when we heal him. So giving him extra armor every time that happens. Is this equivalent to 25 health? You just got to think: are you going to cast more than 12.5 spells on him over the course of a run? Pretty decent odds that you do in the later levels and not in the early levels. So I think Incant Armor 2 falls short early on, but levels up into some pretty nice stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. Here, we recognize we could re-roll and get one bonus option of a cheap variety, or we can go ahead and purge. I like the idea of purging. Get those train stewards out of here. They're not really doing anything for us. Now that we actually have 3 good units, because we've got Tethys as well, don't forget about him, we got a decent number of opportunities to just kind of kill things off before anything really happens. Now, notice that this guy has Enchant to give people spikes, where that starts to be less dangerous is when you've got sweepers that can take them out early, or if they kill themselves on spikes. So we're going to aim to put a Husk Hermit down here, and he's going to take some spike damage as well as this one here, and then gain 5 health. So overall, he's already still gaining, and we can do some things to make that even more so by simply taking that front guy out. So he's gonna have a good time there. Okay, we've got that in play. I do have the ability to kill this, but what I have to do in order to do that is actually put Thorned Hollow here and Frozen Lance. That's okay. I'm okay with that. It means that all 3 of our good units are on different floors, but at the same time, whatever. We probably won't win off the bottom floor. We'll probably win off the second floor, and you know, our quote-unquote backline unit for the second floor here will just be a train steward. And that's okay. That is okay. So let's give this guy some massive amounts of spell weakness. So now this Thorn Hollow has even more armor. That's good. And we'll tank it immediately and bring him down to the point where he's almost dead already. At that point, Tethys is fine. I kind of feel like we should just start putting a train steward here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So we can do one of those, just make sure we don't take the 2 damage from that. And I think we can pretty safely, so obviously we're not going to get these restoration detonations, so what we might as well do is get 2 ticks of regen here, or 2 ticks of the rejuvenate ability, since the initial restore will give him 2 spikes and the second thing will give him 2 spikes. And I think that spikes here are more important than the 10 health, or 9 health, I guess is the difference. Take it back. Difference is 7 total health. This gives 3 total health, this gives 10. Math is hard. We got there. But that will immediately put him up to 11 spikes before even doing the next thing. So every time this guy hits for 3, he'll hit back for 11, and then we will pretty easily take it from there. We can also do some funny business if we want to, just healing this guy to do some damage, but I don't think we care. I think we just do this and call it a day. Nicely enough, our sweeper did take out both the front and back line units, so we only have this guy to deal with. And sure enough, our train steward's going to kill himself. We kind of expected that. That's totally fine. We'll get an incant bonus for even more hilarity there. We'll go ahead and pop 50 health twice off of him. And now everything is super happy. And Tethys just hung out there doing Tethys things. It's fine. Crypt Builder is an interesting option. We already have a frontline beating spell in Helical Crystallis. We could look to get a second one so that we cycle back through. Or we could just cut our losses and say, let's take the money. I think that's more important. We have 2 energy siphons, so we certainly don't need a second one. Wildwood Sap does give us the option of going ahead and doubling down on our Thorned Hollow, making that really our kind of star of the show, especially since this guy's going to sap all our units. Get a second Thorned Hollow if we want. Get a Siren. Sirens are pretty good. We could put a Siren behind the Thorned Hollow, and that gives us really, really nice synergy with the incant bonus that we've already built into that guy. So that whole layer of Thorned Hollow with a guy behind means that you've now got some pretty beefy things. We could also put Cold Celia behind it. Cold Celia is nothing to be nothing to overlook. The 3 Frostbite that she applies to the entire line is pretty good. But we've already got a sweep unit, so I think we are less excited for that and more excited to get something new. So let's pull that. Okay, I think we're good on units now. That being said, do we upgrade magic or do we upgrade units? We could technically still get a second frontline unit. Right now I'm kind of playing fast and loose with the Husk Hermit having 30 hit points. Just using it as a de facto frontline, so I don't mind getting a second frontline here. I also don't mind getting a couple of unit upgrades kind of early in on Husk Hermit and Siren, whereas the 6 health that we would get from the Pyro Remains is a little paltry. So the choice is still pretty up in the air, with the possible exception of being able to remove Consume from Wildwood Sap. Just sounds super appealing, so let's look to do that if we can. Oh, yeah. Alright, so we're going to do that immediately and often, and we will be thankful for it. Okay. So that makes us very, very happy. We also get double rewarded with another big frontline unit. Rejuvenate, Cultivate is going to work out real nicely with something like Tethys, who starts off with a very low health bar. So we can put the Awoken guy in front of him, and Tethys will get a bigger and bigger sweep value. We could also technically put it in front of the Husk Hermit. Options abound here. The Animus of Will, honorable mention for having some pretty good scaling for being able to sit there and do 3 times 3 damage, but I think we're just less excited to have more backline units considering we already have 2 pretty good ones. So let's take that guy. We'll be thankful for that, and You know, honestly, we can totally afford the Pyro Health, and that's a lot of money, which means we can actually look to upgrade more spells than just the one. We were happy enough to get the one spell, but, you know, more spells is more spells, right? So let's give ourselves, now that we have this guy coming back, we're totally okay with consuming a Restore and just not seeing it again. Gaining double stack. We don't have anything that discards. So Guardian's Amulet is kind of dead. Ep.4 is super cool, but there's no consistent way to apply that. And in some ways, I'd rather just pseudo get rid of the restores. Because I'm straight up going to remove the Frozen Lances when I can. I'm straight up going to remove my things. So we should probably plan that out. I've got 4 Train Stewards and 3 Frozen Lances. I can get rid of 2 there of the 7. Get rid of 2 there. That's 4, 6, 8. So I could technically get rid of all of them if I take all of the left path here. I don't have to, but I can, which means that in the meantime, getting big restores is just fine. That also means that I now have to choose. I can't get double stack, but I didn't care anyway. The only other nice thing on getting double stack is if you put double stack on your Wildwood, go to Regen 10, but that would make it cost 3 instead of doing this Emberstone. I could have made it cost +1 with the Eternal Stone and make it cost +1. Regen 10 is super good and in some cases worth spending 3 for, but that is kind of our entire budget right now. So I'd much rather just have a sort of repeatable, give it 5 every couple of turns. We're going to use some of these consumers to cull down our list and then just kind of hope to draw Wildwood Sap a couple of times. We can also Hellvent it and just have it come up more times. So now we just get to decide, do we want something to be cheaper or do we want to get rid of something? And I think right now our best option is probably cheaper, honestly. I think we can get some pretty good mileage out of making Helical Crystallis a single cost, so that we can just not feel bad about casting it, and then we've got a little bit of extra cash going into the next store, as opposed to draining literally all of our cash and going into a boss that's not going to give us as much. No collectors happen during a boss, so we want to make sure that when we get to our next choices down the road here, that we're not trying to decide on, oh, well, we can't go to a store, which we weren't going to go to a store anyway, it turns out, but it's sometimes awkward to go to a store right after a boss because you don't have the cash to support it. All right. If we put our Awoken Hollow here, we can put Tethys right behind, and he gets huge and puts spell weakness down, and then we put a Thorned Hollow above. However, that means we have to spend most of our time healing the Awoken Hollow, just so he doesn't die. I'm okay with it. We just have to recognize that is a thing. So heal some stuff, cool, he takes 5 total damage. He's actually going to take 10, but then he gets a bonus from sitting in front with our Forgotten. Okay, the other thing, by the way, is that does give us the option of doing the Thorned Hollow plus Siren Incant combo, which makes us very happy. We're going to start doing our regen here, and we're going to do our raw bonuses up here when we can. But at the very least, getting 5 regen here is more chances for Tethys to get bigger and bigger. And we like that. Husk Hermit gets to sit out here. He's on your front line there. I'm pretty excited to see that, to be honest. That guy is dead now, so he takes however much damage he's going to take here. 13 gets him down to 5. This guy's going to kill him with 5 because by the time he comes up there, his sap will be removed, so he'll be fine. So instead we just keep pushing Awoken Hollow up as much as possible, and I think we just start stacking up our spell weakness here and see if we can do something funny. Let's go ahead and get a guy out of the way so we don't have to draw him again. Alright. So once again, this thing has regen attached to it, so we'll do that there. We'll do this here. And he's dead, so we're good there. We can actually go ahead and Frozen Lance this as well. That'll make him do more damage. It'll give him some armor. And we're happy for that. He's taking damage, so we do need to get another healing bonus in there pretty soon. That being said, that'll happen. We just got to get there. Let's go ahead and take that guy out. There's no reason to leave him alive. And you can see we're just not casting our 3-cost sap spell. It's just not happening. It's fine. It's just kind of useless. Resto Detonation does some fun stuff here. Takes that out immediately. Get some more stuff there. And Kabam. Alright. Good start. 3 bosses in, 1 major boss down. And as usual, we end a fight with a ton of spell weakness on a unit and not being able to turn it into anything, but that's okay. Let's get some money. Adding more regen and spikes seems like a thing we would want to do. That's also something that we can look to double stack. I'm a big fan of that concept. If we do that, we probably want more mana. Otherwise, we might want more draw. I think that's a pretty appealing option, though. We also have the option of taking Channel Song, which is fine. It's not exciting, but it's fine. And we have Ice and Pyre, which mediocre at best. I think Spreading Spores is our winning ticket here. And then we look to do some fun stuff up at the top level with, I don't know, Thorn Hollows, probably. I'll duplicate one of those at some point. I don't think we need any of these units. Those are more mouths to feed. We've got enough of those. As said, we're running pretty shy on available cash. Cash only at this point. Our biggest deal here is we could use the Pyre Remains. That's not a bad thing. However, getting an artifact seems pretty great, and removal is super, super good for us right now. So let's get rid of Train Steward. Let's get rid of a... Yeah, I mean, the spells are castable technically, so there's also Horde. We could get more energy. We don't have any stings. We're not always playing units, so that's really just like turn 1, turn 2, but it does mean that we're kind of guaranteed to not run out of energy on the first 2 turns. Okay with that. We have another Siren of the Sea. If we're looking at what's our total build here, we've got a Thorned Hollow plus a Siren of the Sea on one floor. We've got a Woken Hollow plus Tethys on another floor, and we've got kind of an open hull in front of the Husk Hermit. So we could put another unit like Siren kind of sitting in front of it. Just gives us the option to have another unit out front. I'm not real excited about that. We'll just skip that for now. We've got 1 Siren. We're happy enough for that. Looks like we're getting just a Spell Weakness 2 off of Tethys. Again, not the most exciting thing, but I do want to hold out for Frostbite, so let's do that. Okay, all the units healing up, going up floors. This is the first time we've got to actually think. Thinking is hard. the real question is whether or not we can do. These guys have 95 health, so whether we can do 95 damage in a single turn. We're not going to be doing that with our units, but we can definitely do that with things like Helical Crystallis and spell weakness. So I think at worst we end up getting hit a bunch with these guys and we tank some of our health. But I like the idea of getting an additional artifact. I think later on in thinking through these kinds of decisions, that's not a risk that you're happy to take. Nevertheless, it is the risk we are doing right now. Okay, so we got our bonus there. We're going to be killing those two guys just due to thorns. And we're going to go ahead and cast that for no reason. Our first floor is good because that guy has no damage, so him hitting things is fine. I think we go ahead and put the Thorn Hollow up here, and we go ahead and back it up with a Siren. Let's go ahead and put a Husk Hermit here. Do we have any other units? No. So we can go ahead and Train Steer behind him for some extra damage. Again, not really doing anything, but where it starts to matter is we need to put spell weakness there, so we've got that. Okay, so first things first, that guy sucks, but we can't do anything about it yet. Oh, no, we can. We can. Boom, he's dead. Bigger news is we can totally take this guy out. That would deal 50 damage. That's not enough, but now we can do 100 damage, and that is enough. Plus, we can start getting going on our rejuvenates. So far, we are not taking any damage. In a minute, I'm going to have to go get my greens out. I'm making collard greens, and I'm very excited about that. But we're not there. All right. Howdy, neighbor. We are in some interesting business here. Oh no, that's a misclick. Okay, well, we didn't lose, but we just made our game much harder. So we're going to take a bunch of damage from this Clipped Guardian because we didn't kill this guy, and then bad things are going to happen. That's okay. As long as we understand that this is all our own fault, we're fine. Actually, we may not get punished for this because we're here at a point where we can actually apply so much regen to this guy that we may actually be able to just kill the boss before it matters. Yeah, we got bailed out real hard by that. Ultimately speaking, I'm not sad. I feel like this is a strong enough play that we were gonna win regardless of it going up. It just saves us an additional 20 health, because he was going to hit us 4 times with our thing only doing 30 damage, meant that it was going to get it down to like 2 health, and that's not enough. But we're okay. We are totally okay. We can even make it more okay. We can get a little bit more health, we can do a little bit more damage, we can do a little more damage, and now we are in horrendously wonderful shape to just shoot him. We shot him, we died, and we moved on. Okay, so our units can get bigger now. We're not sad about this. We're not excited about it. It just kind of exists. Our units are not the strongest part of the deck. If you can see the fact like only this guy is upgraded and he didn't do anything. He was literally at the top and killed no people. So far, our entire deck has been Awoken Hollow, making Tethys do more damage, and just having a million regen from Wildwood Sap. So that being said, we can technically put a Guardian Stone down on the same level. It's a really bad idea because then he takes half of the. It'll bounce back and forth as far as which one the Rejuvenate hits, and the effect that he provides is not good enough to warrant losing that. We could provide Frozen to a card in hand, which allows us to then cast it later. That has an interesting synergy with a certain relic that makes all your frozen cards 0, so we could like freeze Guardian's Amulet and then play it for 0 the next turn. That being said, again, it's cool, but I'm not excited to see that. I am excited to see Frenzied Swarm. I think that's a pretty solid option. Except that we are doing spike damage to things, so we kind of need to get hit in order to do spike damage. So I think I'm just going to skip. We have talked ourselves out of doing anything. Wildwood Custodian, do we have room for him? We do at the top, yes. Or middle, I suppose we can put him behind the Husk Hermit, so sure. Let's do that. Drawing +1 each turn basically takes the place of a relic. So we can take a different upgrade instead. That's very nice. Let's get another artifact on top of it. I think that's also pretty good here. Once again, 79 health doesn't make me desperate to get more energy or more fire health, and we just got a thing that gives our units more upgrade slots, so let's make use of that. So applying dazed to the units below the Pyro Room gives you a little bit of flexibility in terms of like who goes there. They also put root split mask so that they're stuck there for a turn. You get an extra chance to kill them. I think we're probably going to be killing things as fast as we want anyway, so just take that's gift. And that means our top level can be something that doesn't have spikes going on. So we can do something like putting our Husk Hermit up top, and then he'll just slap things without taking damage. That seems just fine. Putting multi-strike on something that inherently scales is always nice. Putting multi-strike on something with sweep is always nice. We do plan on making, so let's be very clear here. We're going to do this. We're going to make him bigger. We're going to do this. We're going to make him bigger. So let's not mince any words there. Yeah, let's do the scaling option here. I feel like getting +2/+2 works out really nicely with multi-strike. And then we'll see what the rest of our options are. A large stone. Okay, so a large stone does mean that we can do one very interesting thing, and that is make a Woken Hollow really big to start with, and just sit him in front of Tethys, and that's the floor. Like we were kind of planning on that being the floor anyway. Now that's the floor. We also can do it on the Husk Hermit, and then we have a pretty beefy amount of sweep damage that's going through. So that's not a terrible option, but I think I like the 40 health that this provides just a little bit more. There's more incantable armor. Just adding incantabilities on top of each other seems fun. And we'll provide 10 damage to our Sweeper, just so that he has a few more options to knock down the enemies for. Now we've done something interesting so far, which is that we actually haven't filled out any particular unit. We've got a whole bunch of units with 2 upgrades, and we have a thing that allows them to have 3, but I think it was more beneficial to spread them out to start with, and then we can put a specialized reward later if we want. Specialized units have a very special place in my heart when it comes down to doing cool bonus damage on things. Alright, so we gotta be a little bit careful where we put the Siren, just due to the fact that putting him right here right now will just straight up kill it. So we're actually gonna, so obviously we put the Woken Hollow here, we're gonna put Tethys there, and stop thinking about that because it's just good. And then I think we just put this guy here, and we go ahead and make this guy a little bigger. And our justification there is that if something does happen to make it up here and doesn't die from the initial Husk Hermit hit, we have a little insurance policy to do that, and we can still do a Thorned Hollow plus Wildwood Custodian right behind it. We're happy enough to have that. None of these guys are going to live, so we don't have to worry about it. We can go ahead and Wildwood Sap get this guy up and rolling. And And then because this happens, we can just make her bigger. Getting a 7x2 into a 9x2 is pretty good. And it doesn't affect how much damage we're taking because it's 0. Alright, so now we actually get into things that matter. That will explode him, which is good. This will give him his first spikes, which actually makes him take more damage, but we'll restore that in a little bit. And we're starting to make Tethys more and more dangerous. One of the things we may look for eventually is we want to make Tethys fast, so that he can sweep out backline units before they matter. But that's a problem for another day. This guy is going to die when he gets to the top, so we're okay with him doing exactly what he's doing. Let's consume, and then we just get to decide if we want to... I think what we want to do is just kill this guy. And then... sit on our thumbs, really. Like, I mean, there's nothing else that we care about doing right now. We will put Regen on this guy, and we will put spikes on this guy, and we will be happy to do so. Alright, let's get some more Regen on this man. And this thing is stealth for 8 rounds, so putting sap on it makes it do a little less damage while we're waiting on it to be targetable. Also, she's hitting herself, which is great. Having some spikes there is pretty useful. Overall, pretty easy. We didn't even really need our second and third floors, but again, kind of expected that. The way we're running this right now, we can't really... Oh, we could put a glacial seal on the second floor. Or even the third. Because this floor is done. Like Awoken Hall and Tethys is just like, that's the whole floor. I need to go do the thing. So we're going to hold there, and everybody pause. We'll be back. Oh my goodness, that smells incredible. I'm so excited for dinner tonight. Alright. What were we doing? Oh, we were looking to see if we could fit a glacial seal. Yeah, so we got this floor filled. Husk Hermit's going to sit in front of somebody. We're getting rid of that. So yeah, we've got space if we wanted to. I don't know that we need it. Takes up a draw, doesn't really do anything for us. We're not killing things with Frostbite. Killing things with Frostbite. We're killing things with spikes and sweep and spell weakness. Skip. Skipping is okay. Skipping is a great option because it gives you money. Skipping is a great option because it keeps your deck lean, allows you to cast things you want to cast. Skipping is sometimes not a good option because you do need better spells than you start with. So it's not like skip is always the best option, but it is often the best option. I don't know that we need to draw anymore on a single turn versus any other. We've got a +1 draw from our Wildwood. That's nice. As soon as we get there, we're fine. And Graft gives us a reasonably quick way to capture Rejuvenation, although I feel like we're mostly going to want to just draw Spreading Spores. And then we don't care about reading things. Okay, we got an extra 20 gold. And we've still got money, we've still got units that need upgrades. Raise and go. More money, not a problem. Okay, so we're out of Train Stewards, that's good. That means we can move on to getting rid of Frozen Lances, because we don't care about those. Another multi-strike. Okay, so this is where we start like really heavily indexing into something or other. So we can put extra 10 in Spikes 3. That means he starts with Spikes immediately. That's a pretty attractive option. We could also make him just a little beefier so that he doesn't blow up. But I like the idea of not necessarily trying to worry too much about the Incanto in the 2, and just saying let's give him some spikes. Let's give him more armor, and let's give her. Ooh, you know, I could give him multi-strike sweep. That seems pretty sweet, especially if we're dazing everything on the top. Okay. So then our last option is basically just like, do we put something else there? We've got the money, might as well. We got the option for a large stone. We could actually do like Hust Kermit in front of like a very big siren. Oh no, it happened. I don't think we spend any money making the Wildwood Custodian last longer. He's going to last as long as he lasts. Maybe we give him 10 health. That's fine. We'll give him 10 health. Make him feel better about himself. Alright, 150 coins is nice. Means if we happen to hit something like a trinket store right here, we actually might have enough money to buy a trinket. We can also skip it. We can go to Forgotten Boons, get a Hellvent. We're really happy to see a Hellvent. That being said, we're going to see another one right there. Do we actually want to get rid of 4 cards, is the question. We can definitely get rid of the 2 Frozen Lances. We'll get rid of one of the Restorers. Don't know that we care. Probably get rid of the Guardian's Aim. I'm not using it. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. This rallies when you play a non-morsel unit on this floor. Bad things happen. Technically, Tethys would not die if I put him on the bottom floor. That's a hot take. Okay. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. So we don't want anything to die right now, but that's okay, nothing's dying. But for real, nothing's dying. We got 3 spikes. That's fine. Let's kill that guy and increase our regen. Okay, good. pull this guy in there. Yep, makes this guy dazed and her dazed, so we won't get any damage off of them. That is understood and expected. I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and get that on there while we're thinking about it. Let's go ahead and boost this guy up just so he's got a few more spikes for when this guy gets up there, because this guy's going to make it up at least 1 or 2 levels. He will die before he gets to the top. 51 damage is not that much compared to the 40 damage plus 40 damage that's going to happen to him. So we're not worried about you know, him like surviving or anything, but we want to just make sure that we're not too over-indexed into one thing in particular. But putting spell weakness on these things and killing them means that we get even more health and more spikes and things like that. And the more we do that, the more we ensure that our Broken Hollow just lives absolutely as long as possible. We have an interesting thought here. So that's that. So we need to go ahead and put in this here, and then we're actually going to cast something up here, and that's just to make her scale a little bit. Again, not important, but it might end up being important once we get to these guys. So we're just paying attention ahead of time. Okay. Go ahead and just apply energy siphons here. He can heal 8 health, which will kill that guy. Since he's got spell weakness, you can heal him for more than 8 health, which will inspire an additional rejuvenate, which we all know I am a fan of, so that's what's going to happen. By the way, this guy just getting beat on without being healed is hilarious, because he's got so much health from just getting 5 every round that he's huge. And this guy started off with 30 and he's already up to 70. This is why Emblem of the Exiles is so incredibly good. Not that I feel like it's too much more explanation at this point, but still probably worth pointing out. Okay, he's got 5 stacks of spell weakness. We might as well just cash that in, do 300 damage to him, because that's a lot of damage. He's dead, but so is he. Let's see if we can fix that. Done. So we can do another 50 damage to him just by doing a helical. We can do 100 damage by doing energy siphon into helical, or we can give 2 more regen, which brings him up to 24 and 15 spikes. That doesn't really change much, so we'll just energy siphon. It's fine, and we're well comfortably in the margin of doing a bunch of damage over and over and over and over and over, and he ends up with like 26 spell weakness, and nobody cares because it's not going to do anything. That's great. Quick is good. So we already saw that by the end we couldn't cast everything. We're drawing enough, I think, to get it through. So let's just cast more. So we can purchase a trinket with the cash that we have some of the time. We're happy to Hellvent all the time, because we can Hellvent the Wildwood Sap, and that's just incredible. We really only need to get rid of like one more thing. We only care about getting rid of these 2 frozen lights, so we can do that. I think in the last, yeah, we do that over the Merchant of Magic here. So I think we go Forgotten Boons this time. Even though, like, yeah, we're not going to use the money. The Hellvent to us is very important. Getting our Wildwood Sap. It's not like this was going to upgrade our spreading spores anyway. It also means that the hell vent we can use on the final room to actually get a second Wildwood Custodian, and then we can draw 2 bonus every turn because we got room in behind the Thorncaller to do that. Concealed Caverns. Let's go ahead and see if we got our Frostbite. Hey, we got Frostbite. Cool. And our random event gives us Deadweight. We don't really want to be drawing Deadweight when we've got Spreading Spores in the deck. We won't get to those. We also can't get rid of these things yet. I don't think we care too much about giving everything +4/+4. I mean, we do. Our Siren of the Sea has multi-strike, our Huskirma has Sweep and multi-strike, so that is a lot of damage. Tethys would start off a little higher with Sweep as well. But it's certainly not going to change our game, and it does make our draws a little more awkward to start with until we get our Russian face in play, Custodian. And I think we can skip that pretty safely. So we just leave. We're not guaranteed that a Concealed Caverns is actually going to be useful on any given run, but they do give you the option of skipping, which is fine. Okay. So, first things first. We may actually be setting up top floor because I'm not being given the things that I want to go elsewhere. And I don't want to take... So these guys explode for 5, so if I let those guys go up, they will do 30 damage to my core. That feels very, very bad. Because I'm not guaranteed that that's the only damage I'll take. So let's put that there. Probably use that later. And net, we're gaining. This feels pretty good. Hey, we're rewarded just a little bit as well. That feels pretty good. This is a little bit of an awkward play because what we're going to sit here and do is this guy is going to beam in and give us 2 less energy next turn. I think we're kind of okay with that. It's not a real happy... Oh, we could put this behind the wild. Yeah, we could put this back here. Do that, and then it's not quite so awful. We need to continue to stack our regen. Okay, this is good. Alright. We have reached a particular point at which most of the rest of our game doesn't matter. Once we get that guy out, and once we start doing these kinds of things, we're in pretty good shape. So he is going to make it in, and he's going to do 2 damage a couple of times. That's fine. Actually, he's going to do 2 damage once, so we're down to 1 of 7. I think I'm more excited to go ahead and put Quick down. And I'm actually going to choose to do it here. And the reason is as soon as I do that, he will slap through and take out backline units before they can hurt him. Okay, so we lost our 2 energy there. Expected that. Okay. Do we have a good way of... So we're losing this guy. This is not cool. We need to keep our heads above water a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, I think that means we are going to pay for it just a little bit by not getting to play the spreading spores this turn. Well, that's all right. Which is just a little disappointing. We can also prep this guy a little bit. We can do that and give him a little bit of armor. We can cast that. It gives her a little bit more damage. Yeah, so we're going to be kind of constantly down some levels of energy. Keep doing that. Let's start doing this. This will give him some regen. We'll start getting him some spell weakness. That guy's dead, so we're good there. Okay. That seems fine. So if he does this and that, then at least that goes away pretty rapidly. Honestly, I could do it one more time, and that just super takes care of that. And then once again, we just apply 5 more regen. Because we love regen. Love, love, love regen. Okay. We don't care too much about this guy. He just existed to kill off some backline units when he could. So I think we just put regen on here as our first line of defense. And we do 100 damage from healing him twice. Actually, it does a little more than 100 damage because he also gets 4 more spikes, which is not great, but not nothing. So we no longer draw 1 extra. It's fine. We can put these on there, which gives her the extra incantability. We notice we're actually doing a lot of damage here. But again, I think our eggs are in this basket. Oh, we can actually cast literally everything, so why not? So we would have rather had our spell weakness happen earlier on instead of at the top level, but what we drew in our first hand kind of dictated what we were going to be doing. And that's fine. Yeah, so basically net we will take almost no damage. And we get a couple of cards we don't care about, followed by some cards that we kind of care about. Honestly, Channel Song could do some interesting things. We could use that to pull up a really big Siren of the Sea. We could use it to pull up a really big Husk Hermit, something like that. But you got to draw it first, and you got to have something to put out with it. So I'm less immediately excited to do that. I don't think that's going to make or break a run. So let's do it. That way we unlock the card back for it. Very much want to upgrade some spells here. We very much want to get rid of some spells here. Frozen Lances are by far our worst, but not in isolation. So we'll get rid of 1. We do want to win with 1 so that we unlock the card back for it. So at some point we got to remember to actually keep a Train Steward alive till the end and not get rid of it. Hold over. What do we want to keep casting every turn? Nothing. These are fine as is. -1 is useful to put on Spreading Spores so that whenever we draw it, it's cheaper and more available. 10 magic power is great to put on all sorts of things, most notably Restoration Detonation, because it will make things explode. I don't think holdover is important here, so I think we actually just skip that. And we roll. Permafrost does not excite us. Question mark. I don't think permafrost excites us. So with that being said, we did not get our doubling up, so we'll just make this free. Okay, every time we draw it, we just spam it, spam it, spam it. 20 magic power in consume, however, is very exciting. So we can do something like a giant restoration detonation, and then it is gone. Or we could do a giant frozen lance and then it's gone, then we don't have to worry about it. I like that better. Let's do that. Purge card we'll probably use to take out our other restoration detonation, as we no longer really need it. So we've got one big one, so we can take out this boy for free. Let's see what our trinkets do. Play third spell of the turn. All cards gain 1 magic power. We are going to be playing spells all game long, so that seems great. Friendly units gain 1 per stack of spikes. Synergizes very nicely with the fact that we're putting tons of spikes on things. I like all of these. All of these are good. I think at that point, then we can fairly easily just purge some cards and then duplicate a card and call it a day. We get rid of one of our injury siphons because most of our energy damage bonus things are happening elsewhere. We get rid of our restore because we have a better option for free. And we actually have anything else we want to get rid of? We're good with these. We're good with that. Guardian's Offering would have been nice to do something with. But I think we're just going to like happily win with it, just occasionally rolling past and doing nothing. Let's duplicate. What do we want to duplicate? Can't really duplicate a unit. We don't really have space for that, but we could duplicate one of our spells, like Channel Song. We could duplicate just another Wildwood Sap. We could duplicate a Wildwood Custodian and just draw more. I like that. Let's do that. And then, technically speaking, we can put Permafrost on the Guardian's Amulet so that we don't have to draw it multiple times. It just sticks in our hand, and then we can forget about it. I mean, technically we can still cast it. It just means that we don't have to be sad when it comes up. Okay, we are immediately granted the ability to set up our bottom row the exact way we want to. It's good. We immediately get Spreading Spores. It's fantastic. We immediately given a Husk Kernel. Yeah, that is the first turn you want. All 3 Emblem of the Exiles floors are going off. We're basically just in full bloom. Business is booming. Okay, so we want to make sure not to die. That's important. Let's get Regen going here. Let's get our Siren going here. Let's make sure that guy doesn't get to the core and kill us. Probably could have thought about putting a sap down there, but we've got it for this turn in case we need it. We do not need it. We are immediately going to put Quick on him now, and he's going to kill all the backlines before they do any damage, so we're super golden there. We also get the opportunity to blow up that guy. We also get the opportunity to mostly blow up this guy, I think. Yeah, just super dead. Brilliant. And we've cleared the floor again, so now we really only have to think about this floor. Channel Song doesn't do anything. That's fine. We got all our units out in the exact order we kind of wanted them in. And in point of fact, I think what we do is we actually just cast Channel Song so it goes away. And then we start just doing as much as we can. Let's go ahead and pull some sap on things. Does mean we have to draw it again, but we're drawing most of our deck every turn anyway. He's dead. That's fine. They're not dead. That's not fine. He's not dead yet, but he's mostly dead. Now he's dead. Now we get all the regen in the world. We have not cleared the board, and we're okay with that because we are going to kill everything when it comes back. Let's get an extra spell weakness there. That blows that up. Get more spikes, more spores, more spikes, more spores, more regen, more regen. Oh my goodness. Explosion. Okay. More spikes, more regen, more spikes, more regen, more spikes, more regen, more spikes, more regen. Yeah, there's a good theme here. That thing's dead. More regen, not more spikes, but no. Enter. Eventually, we're basically just going to be drawing spikes and regen. Oh no, we're done. We win. Yay, we win. Just for completeness sake, let's go ahead and... Oh yeah, if we do these three first, technically we have more spell power. I don't know how to process the fact that we have 59 regen, so we're just going to not worry about it and realize that we won incredibly, incredibly hard. In point of fact, we won so hard that we probably would have won with or without Tethys being there. I think Tethys is actually pretty vestigial to the fact that this boy is massive and heals more damage than is incoming on a given round for 9 to 30 rounds. And 30 times 50 is 1,500 damage, so he's going to do 1,500 damage before he basically takes anything. And at that point, he's still going to only take like 1 damage a round while he's doing 50. So this is a very, very indicative process of the deck working better than intended. Things are going well when you can do things like this. I'm gonna blow this guy up. This makes me feel good. Okay. Well, we have successfully navigated our mission to destroy Seraph here. Oh, it's going to be fun. Oh, no, nice. He got the punch in. I was going to say, did Seraph kill himself? But no. We got a 3-turn boss rush. So not quite as cool as our 6-turn boss rush battering ram kill. But still very, very solid. We actually utilized all 3 floors this time. So having something on the top floor to kind of sweep out the last remnants of things as they moved up, having some good spikes on the front line, and of course the MVP for the whole run was the artifact that we got very, very beginning, and just allowing us to really, really tank up units that were already tanky to begin with. Taking a unit that has 40 max health and transforming it into a unit that has 140 max health is it's incredible. It allows you to really do some cool things. So we unlocked Covenant rank 4. Those bosses are going to do a little bit more damage to us. As long as we play right, we will still win. Sometimes. Maybe even sometimes most of the time. And because we're level 5 now, we actually have access to Soulguard, who's really interesting, very different than Tethys, totally feels different. His abilities all are based on incanting and getting these shards, and then he does things with the shards. So he feels like much more of a defensive unit as opposed to Tethys feeling like an offensive unit. So we got interesting things coming up. We also finally got to level 4 in Awoken. I don't think we've played yet with Awoken as our main... Yeah, we have not played main flag Awoken yet. But we've got 3 different flags up so far, and out of the 6 possibilities. And we're 2/3 of the way to Umbra, so we are trucking along. And unlocking a fair number of card packs, which is good. Alright, everyone, GG, and hopefully we all had fun. And even if you didn't have fun, maybe you learned something. Talk to you later.